Kanti silwelani? Siyalwa yini? How are you? Yebo. Oh, uthe utshena, uthe uzozilandela manje ucamba amanga. Uthe kanti utshena. Yay. My days. Fucking God. Bathi limnandi gama uJesu. Bathi selimnandi gama lakho. Izinkinga zomhlaba azisuze. Sazigwinya thina uthembisile umnini manga bonke limnandi gama. Yo, Oratile Chief, how are you? It's been a while, my chief. It's been a while. It's been a very, very long time. I don't know if the internet will let me cook today or it will be as it usually is, but I'm back for the day and we got a lot to discuss actually because it's been how many chapters? 3 or 7, I don't know. But how are you doing, Oratile? Let me ask you, how are you? How have you been? It's been a break week from One Piece, which sucks. I don't wanna lie. Like a break week is one of the worst things that have ever happened in One Piece. To think mangakas have the audacity to take breaks. I'm preparing for Man United to hit my heart again. Why do you continue to stress yourself like that, Chief? Did you say your manager? Is Amorin still your manager? Because I heard some topics that Ten Hag is back. But being a Man U fan just proves that you love Ronaldo too much. Like, being a United fan is just. I gave up. I gave up on United as soon as they sold Ronaldo. I don't wanna lie. But it's been a terrible few games for Man U, especially when it comes to. He's still here. Oh my God. You guys need to find a way to cook. I don't wanna lie. Because this is a disgrace coming from Man United, Especially all the players you had as a Man U growing up, How are you going to replace your Ryan Giggs? How are you going to replace your Paul Scholes? Is it Paul or is it Peter? I'm not sure, but it's Paul for sure. And then you had Nani. This Amorin manager must go. And then who do you hire? Because is it okay to hire managers after transfer window? A manager is part of the transfer window or what? But I don't think Amorin is a problem at this point. You need to fire the whole team. You really need to fire the whole team and just, I don't know, but the Man United situation is kind of wild, because everything has been going wrong. Always have hope and then it crashes. It crashes around. But yeah, you are better than Chelsea. Are you? I'm not sure, but Man U is in a very tough position. Even Mbuma from, I don't know what team he came from. I thought that guy would bring a lot of goals for United. I thought since Onana has left, I thought Onana was the problem. But we thought the same thing when who is this? De Gea was still there. It looked like it was Harry Maguire, but it's not. I will say, I think the problem is Bruno Fernandes because you have changed everything about Man United in the entire 3 to 5 years, except Bruno Fernandes. As for why, I don't know. I'm not beefing with Bruno or anything. I've always been a Kevin over Bruno type of guy. But the Palace manager, Glasner, Brentford manager, Rola, Xavi, Freddy, help me understand how both plays for this coach, Mara, we still losing like this. Like, how does that even happen, dog? Like, how can Man United you have fallen, dog. That's the only thing we have to say because empires rise and fall, and this is the beginning of Man United's fall. Because if Mbuma won't step up to the situation, I don't know what will happen. And Xavi as a manager, I don't wanna lie, it will be a very good decision, but you have to understand Xavi is not Pep Guardiola at the end of the day. You won't expect that Xavi is going to succeed now. Man United fans love Bruno too much. We said no to 100 million from Saudi for Bruh. How is that even possible, Doc? Because how many players would you have got with that 100 mil? You would have got some up and coming players with a lot of fire because I feel like Bruno Fernandes has a lot of PTSD issues. Bruno's been going through a lot, dog, and he's not doing what he was supposed to do because I know Bruno Fernandes used to score a lot of banger goals. He was a goal scorer, and you have to love that. You have to like it. But he's not him anymore. I don't need Pep. I just need a coach. Oh, Man United doesn't need Pep Guardiola. They just won and win games. That's all. That's true, dog. And knowing the Premier League, maybe it's been maybe 4 to 3 games, since the league has started. And I am sure that Man United have already lost the Premier League because these days, for you to win the Premier League, enough about football. What do you think about the last One Piece chapter? Dog, the last One Piece chapter was very emotional for me. I don't wanna lie, because with this interesting past that we have in One Piece or the history of One Piece, as rich as it may seem, it feels like we are going to go down a very terrible path. And it's been a few chapters, I don't know, like it's been maybe 6 to 5 chapters since we got to know more about rocks. And I know that I'm going to cry more than I cried for Kuma and Boni, because Kuma and Boni was just painful and the rocks will be very sad. I just have a feeling that we are going to go a very dark path with rocks. And now that we know more about rocks, how is Oda going to build up Teach, going forward? Because I don't know, lie, this chapter was very emotional, impactful, and it had a lot of plot twists too. Because seeing what Dragon did in the last chapter 160, 1106, I don't know, lie. One Piece has taken a very, very dark turn. Because things are not going to be easy for Dragon himself too. Because Dragon and Shamrock have history. So how does Dragon feel about the failure of his mission when it involves Shamrock? You know? Shanks is fine, I don't wanna lie. Finally my Dragon stocks are looking good. Yeah, now that Ganku is at God Valley, it probably means Imu is gonna make an appearance. For sure, because I don't think Imu was willing to fight against Rocks personally in Marijuana, but using Ganku would be a very good option because Ganko might be in the position to die and Imu won't get affected in any way. But it seems like if Imu made an appearance at God Valley, because we always speculated that shit that Rocks might have been betrayed, or it's just Imu who made an appearance at God Valley. So like this chapter was just insane, and seeing that Ganko is using the same arrows that we first saw, it 100% confirms the fact that Imu can use Ganko as an avatar or something like that. Those arrows were 100% because in the bottom of my heart, I believe that each and every ability that the God Knights and the Gorosei display is just one of Imu's powers or abilities. Imu can change into whatever being he or she wants. I like the theory that Imu reversed rocks, and that's where Roger and Cap had to jump rocks. Alright, to the top, I don't wanna lie, but that would be the worst case scenario. If we have to discuss about rocks getting Domi reversed, it just builds a very dark future because if it conquerors like rocks, because rocks doesn't have didn't show any signs of devil fruits or anything like that, but rocks just had immense amount of haki. That's all we know from rocks, that this nigga was a haki beast, and if haki transcends everything, I might understand that rocks maybe didn't master haki to that point in that time, but if a haki beast like rocks gets Domi reversed, then we might have a Shanks Domi reversed. Because one thing about Shanks is that he still is considered as a figureland. So obviously the celestial dragons are going to feel entitled with Shanks. Even Imu will be against or will go after a guy like Shanks. So if a conquerors like Rox Dizzyback was Domi reversed, we might get a Shanks Domi reversed. Because the mark of the beast, or the mark of the abyss that Imu uses, it wasn't enough to hold down Shanks, because Shanks, it's tragic for Rock's character, but I don't know what that means for Teach's character in the current day. And that's a good point about strong conquerors haki users. Yeah, it's just it flips the entire script. I don't wanna lie, but when it comes to Teach, I know that Teach is the true heir to being the king of the world right now. You know, Rocks might have not achieved. Oh my god, I just remembered something. Alright, do you remember when Zunisha said that he couldn't make Joy Boy the king? Rocks wanted to become the king, you know, and Rocks didn't become a king too. Joy Boy wanted to become a king, Rocks wanted to become a king, and then Luffy wants to be a king too, king of the pirates. So what kind of a king did Joy Boy want to be? You know, does Luffy, after being king of the pirate, want to be king of the world too? Is this where the two dreams meet? Because I don't know, like being the king of the world is just a child's dream. Like Brooke and the Straw Hats said, each and everyone's reaction to being a king of the world, it's just childish, dog. So I don't know, like things are really, really getting better and better in One Piece. Because when you look at Teach right now, Teach has every bit and right to be the way he is today. I don't wanna lie, because Teach won't live up to Roxy's shoes, or maybe he will. I don't know, but I don't expect Teach to be the same guy that Rox is because of what happened to him in the past. Teach witnessed some gruesome things more than any other character. I don't know, like because Shanks and Shamrock were too young to even remember that day or night, but here it is that the man Teach himself was old enough to witness Godville. And the theory is that Teach has never slept because of the trauma that he got. I really believe it because God Value was really, really tragic. God Value was a very tragic incident, and I don't think it will get better than that. But when it comes to Rocks and him getting Domi reversed, it's a very worst case scenario. Remember, Joy Boy probably hit the One Piece after fighting the 20 kingdoms. That's very powerful talk. I don't wanna lie. That's very powerful. And I think Roger begins to want to know the truth about Imu and the government after he went after God Valley and then went for the One Piece. Dog, that's a very powerful statement. I don't wanna lie. That's a really powerful statement because no matter how we look at things, dog, no matter how we look at things, and I'm really glad that you brought this, you enlightened me with this in a few discussions ago. That at the end of the day, Rox was still a rookie at that time. It was Roxy's era at the end of the time. At the end of the day, So I understand how who is this? Roger might have got an interest to, what? Let me go and find out what really happened. But it was way too late. Because I really think when situations like this, because the script from Mother Charlotte says they will meet again. So who is going to meet who? Because I know that Rox and Harold met, Rox and Roger did meet. So if the middle text said that they didn't meet, who are we supposed to meet? You know, and that just brings you to the situation that anything we know about Roger is not enough. I don't wanna lie, because at first glance, all of us thought that we knew Roger as to who is Roger, but we didn't know who Roger was, to be honest. We just know, maybe Rayleigh, we know Rayleigh, we know Skipper Kapan, we know more about Odin, but we know more about those guys than we know of Roger. And when it comes to the final war, which is still happening today, it just gets more and more complicated. I don't wanna lie. And if Joy Boy wanted to become king of the world, it changes everything. Because finding the One Piece becomes the least important dream in One Piece. Think about if Ganko was at God Valley, it's likely Imu makes an appearance. It's not even likely. Like, it's 99%. We are 99% sure that Imu was at God Valley. Because reason number one is, in God Valley, it was the best time to wipe out the D-Clan than they've ever got in the entire One Piece, because everyone was there. I know that maybe the Water family was not there. The Trafalgar Law's descendants went there, or ancestors. But you had the Davy clan, you know, you have the Gold clan. Yeah, the Davy clan, dog. You had the Davy clan. You had the Roger, the I don't know if it's Gold. You had the Gold clan maybe. You had the Monkey clan. So you had three types of clans in one island. And I know that the other maybe part of the decline is not important, but when it comes to rocks, when it comes to Gap, you know, when it comes to Roger, you had to deal with it right then and there. I'm sure of it because the funniest thing I've seen in then it brings up the question: is Joy Boy David because I also thought of the same thing, because Jones Joy Boy, it's not that far off, dog. I really believe that it's not that far off. And if David D. Jones is Joy Boy, I wouldn't be surprised. Because Joy Boy doesn't say anything about what your name is supposed to be. It just implies the fact that you brought smiles to other people. You are the reason why we had joy. And looking at these guys, because if you look at Teach, you might feel like Teach is not a Joy Boy kind of a figure, but Teach brought joy to Van Alga. You know, Teach brought joy to Katarina Devon. He gave people a will to dream. It's the same thing with Rox. At first we were like, nah, Rox is not a good guy, but Rox brought joy to who? To Loki. So it just becomes more and more complicated. I can see both scenarios where Joy Boy is and isn't David D. Jones. At this point, it feels like, because I don't wanna lie, even Joy Boy himself must have had rivals, and it does make sense that if Joy Boy was a separate pirate from Davy D. Jones, maybe they were rivals. But don't these two dreams sound too familiar, dog? I don't wanna lie, these sound too familiar. But I do think Joy Boy is David D. Jones. Yeah, because if Joy Boy had a different dream, I think Oda would have stated it right then and there. Because who was this? Emeth, the giant robot, was like, you know what? I couldn't make Joy Boy king. Even Zunisha was like, you know what? I'm sorry, Joy Boy, that we couldn't make you king. Because if you look at this situation, I understand that maybe, okay, maybe this, in another point, what if David D. Jones didn't want to become the king of the world, but what if the people around him wanted to make him king? Because if you think of it, Luffy doesn't want to be king of the world, but I would see the Striped Pirates wanting to see Luffy as king of the world, because there's no way we have Marshall Dietrich on that seat, So I do understand how the world might have wanted Joy Boy to become the king of the world instead of Imo, but Imo won, So I really, really find it that David D. Jones and Joy Boy, bro, they're so close. They're so close. And I think narratively it sets a beautiful parallel of Joy Boy's interpretation and Luffy and Teach. You know, because I don't wanna lie, maybe it's me and my cat and something like that, But I really thought there was a point where there was in Egghead Island, where Satan was still alive, But Saint Satan was like, Bonnie hasn't made the connection between the white version of Nika and the Straw Hat Boy, Luffy. And then something really creepy ran into my mind, dog. And I was like, is there a dark version of Nika? Because we have a white Nika, is there a black Nika? Or because if it's yin and yang, do we have the opposite of the white Nika? Do we have a Nika who is solely focused, maybe not on freedom, but on destruction? But that doesn't settle it. But I really feel like we are chasing the same dream in different ways in this point. I don't wanna lie, because you might sit down and ask yourself, if Teach is going to become the king of the world and Luffy is going to become the king of the pirates, how are these two characters supposed to clash when it comes to dreams and all that? It's impossible. But when you put king and then you leave the other part blank, you know, at this point we just have to forget about king of the pirates, king of the world. Let's just focus on being king. You know, a certain group of people want to make Luffy and Teach king. No matter how hard we might find it, no matter how hard it is to accept the fact that there are people who want to see Teach as the king, dog. And it don't change, because the same kind of people wanted Rocks to become the king, So I just think about the thematic opposite of Gear 5. What is the opposite of Looney Tunes? For a power source, for a dark sun god. I don't wanna lie, because when you think about the dark source, or the type of powers that the dark version of Joy Boy would have, I think of him. Because listen to me very well. When we talk about Looney Tunes and all that, the most we've seen Jerry or Tom, the darkest we've seen from Tom, is when the boys have been with the witches. You know, I don't know if you remember seeing Tom protecting a house that is owned by a witch. So this cat is supposed to protect the witch from what, a rat. So if we go back to Tom and Jerry, because I really think that Oda took a lot of inspiration from Tom and Jerry. So if we look at Tom and Jerry, the darkest we've seen in Tom and Jerry, it was witches. So When you think of witches and then you think of Emu and the grimoire, in some points you might feel like I think Emu is the joy boy of the dark joy boy. Because even in Tom and Jerry you had a god here and you had the devil here. If Tom wanted to decide about something important, two characters would show up. It's the white Tom and the evil Tom, or is it good or evil? Something like that. So if there is a dark version of Nika, it has to be Emu. It has to be Emu. And then when it comes to Blackbeard, I really think that Blackbeard took the most underrated devil fruits and he's going to match them into something insane. Because I really think that when it comes to two devil fruits that because we know that it will take yo Tariq, how are you, G? It's been a while. But when it comes to devil fruit, we know that we need two devil fruits to take or to take down the world government. One was supposed to be eaten by King Harold, but we are past that now. So Loki is supposed to eat a devil fruit, and then Teach was supposed to eat a devil fruit. I have to bounce. United is about to come on. Hopefully we lose so this coach can. Nah, dog, you have to win. 2-0 Nigeria is cooked. Tariq, I don't wanna lie, they are cooked. Because I don't know if the spoilers of sin is true, but it's rumored that the game will end in 5-0. So Onazi never had a chance. Onazi never stood a chance, and it will be worse if they get off screen. I don't think it's like Blue Lock to off screen games, but the author might be cooking something. I don't wanna lie. What do you think of the next chapter? I think the next chapter will be insane. I don't wanna lie, Tariq, because when you think of it, Blue Lock and its story, and especially Ego. Let's talk about Ego for a second. But I really think that in the next chapter, we're going to see a different kind of Blue Lock, whereby they have to work together, because at the end of the day, this individual egotistical behavior won't work. Will Japan make 3-0? It's possible, because what Nigeria is trying to do it's the worst thing you can do. You cannot evolve into someone else. You need to find your own ways to evolve. So I really think that as much as Japan is trying to evolve towards not even Japan, but Nigeria is trying to copy Blue Lock. And then I think Blue Lock will try to copy Japan because in this game I really feel like Blue Lock hasn't been balling at all. Because it's fine. We've seen a Bachira goal, we've seen a Rio goal, but where's the playmaking? Where's the creating chances? Strikers are not even touching the ball. I know it's common in football for strikers not to get too much action, but this is way less action than we are used to. In this point, Isagi has become a side character, and this is Bachira's story. So I really think that Pillock will start playing football as a team, and this will this will shake Nigeria to the core because while we are trying to evolve into something else, these people are evolving into because I really think that everything now will start and end with strikers. That's what I think. But when we try to predict what's happening in the next game, in the next chapter, we are not seeing any substitutions with which is a down. I don't want to lie. I would have liked to seen a substitute in the first half. 7-3, you still on that. Nigga is still on that prediction. Oh, Tariq, dog. That's a very insane prediction. I don't wanna lie. But what's surprising to me is that Nigeria will score that amount of goal against Blue Lock, which is it's impossible at this point. I don't see them beating Kakamaro for now. I think Corona will play. Yeah, Corona is a very good substitute for Hiyori, no doubt. So I think Hiyori will be brought out for Corona, and things will be a bit different because I don't think Corona will be siding with Isagi. anymore. I don't think, or Shido coming into play wouldn't be interesting at all. Because I really think that Shido is not interested in this game. If there's a game that's boring for Shido, this is the one. But who I would like to see is Baru. Because in this point, I really want to say this. I wanted to say this a very, very long time. So I don't know how I will just go out and spit it out. But I think that Onazi is an incomplete king. You know, I really feel like Onazi has everything it takes to become another king of football. Because when you look at Baru and you look at Onazi, man, these guys are really, really alike, dog. I know that they're not going to be one on one. The author wouldn't create something like that, but I feel like Baru and Onazi are the same character for me. You know, Onazi genuinely feels like a king of football. You know, it's just that he doesn't have the ego to match his abilities at this point, because at this point Onazi is just, he is naive. You know, that needs to be pointed out. The fact that Onazi is being naive. You know, as to why is the boy being so naive, we don't know. But if he can pump up his ego a bit, just a bit, I don't wanna lie. I don't wanna lie. Kunigami on defender. Yeah, because when you look at it, Onazi is a physical impossibility. He's a genius. Let me just say that Onazi is just a freaking genius. And when you put a guy like Corona, not even Corona, but Kunigami against Onazi, I don't wanna lie. That would be a peak matchup, because when it comes to physicality, we've never seen characters better than these two guys. So Kunigami will really, really go hard when it comes to serving in this game, because there's no one who is capable of dealing with Onazi right now when it comes to his jumping and all that. So I really would like to see if Kunigami can adapt or can just be better than Onazi. If that happens, I don't wanna lie. The author will be cooking. No, the author will be cooking. But the rumors have it that we have a lot of Nagi in this upcoming chapter. Nagi again in this upcoming chapter, which is not what I'm expecting. Right now I don't want to see Nagi at all. I don't wanna lie. You know, Nagi is the last character I want to see. Bring me Nishoka at least. Bring me Itoshi Sai. Show me Itoshi Sai arriving to the city. What will happen to Nagi? Nagi is going to Blue Lock soon. Nagi is going to Blue Lock soon, because it's only 3 games away to the semi-finals, or to the quarterfinals. Did the man just say that? Now I remember. It seems like the Blue Lock 11 will come and play not in the quarterfinals, but in the semi-finals. Not even the Blue Lock. They will be announced. I don't know when they will be announced, but it sounds like they will be announced during the quarterfinals. So we won't be seeing any of Nagi with Blue Lock for a while now, because we we were about to wait more than 4 games before we see Nagi again, which is insane. I don't know. But it's 4 games until Sai, and the next candidate of the Blue Lock 11, because Blue Lock has, we have 2 confirmed players. Round of 16, Morocco versus Japan. Morocco versus Japan. I really don't want to lie, because when it comes to African references and Blue Lock, I think that we've had our fair share of being represented as a continent. Because as much as we would like to see Africa coming in this Blue Lock tournament, we have to understand that other games will go on behind the scenes. Not you cannot watch every game in the World Cup. It's practically impossible unless you record other games and then That's what I mean. So other African countries will be playing, but I don't think they will make it through the round of 16 to the round of 16. Morocco might make it, but still we might not play them. That's what I generally think, because if we are going to spend this time with Nigeria, because if it's not Nigeria, it has to be Morocco or Cameroon. Those are the only teams you can go with in Africa, because those are the best teams to represent Africa. So I know that Morocco is going to make it to the round of 16, but I don't think they will play against Bullock. But we might get to see Morocco players, because even though we don't see players play, we can always speculate and theorize. Or Egypt, yeah. So there's a lot of possibilities for African teams to make it to the round of 16, but for them to play block again is something else, because while we have the African football philosophy, which is represented by Nigeria, it's not the best form of football philosophy. I don't want to lie, but we got represented in this anime, and we have to appreciate that, and the fact that we were the first to go against block as Africa. We have to rejoice in that. But other continents need their fair share, because I really would like to see China, I don't know, or other Asian communities, because Blue Lock is taking a different turn from the way the Asian community sees football. So I would like to see maybe a South Korea versus Japan, because South Korea is tough too when it comes to football. They've always made the cut. When it comes to being the best, you can count on South Korea. So I don't know, like seeing South Korea and Japan will be a very hype game too. Or South Korea versus China, but China is not that good when it comes to soccer. So I might let that slide. South Korea and Japan insane, because those two teams are always in the World Cup. Always, dog. They are always in the World Cup. So I really would like to see which football philosophy is better, South Korea or Japan. And then when it comes to other continents, we still have Australia, which we might see. I don't know, like, because there's a lot of anime community in Australia. Even though the author cannot visit our countries individually, I think he will do it continent by continent, because if you have 5 games in the World Cup, Africa, Asia, West Europe, East Europe, and then South America or America. So those are the ways that I think it would be strategically good for the entire world to enjoy Blue Lock. So we cannot hog all the action to Africa. Now, I would like to see other people, especially when it comes to South Korea, and just people who can speak the same language as Japanese people. I don't know, but I really would like to recap on what happened in the previous games, because I don't want to lie, this has been a very fire chapter, and the way it progressed, I don't want to lie, because this feels more like highlights instead of a original football game, and I think this is the best that the author have come to shape Blue Lock in its entirety. I don't want to lie, because when you look at how the NEL was going, we were going moment after moment, we didn't have any cards, and we didn't have anything to play around. So a lot has changed. A lot has changed, I don't lie. When you look at how the game is going on, it's like this. But I think if games can move like this, we can see other teams play themselves. I really would like to see Brazil against Netherlands or Brazil against England. So those type of games, maybe seeing new Gen 11s go against each other. That's just a dream at this moment. It's just a piped dream. But a lot of interesting things happened. But I, I did select a random amounts of picks. I don't know if where the fuck is my mouse? Oh my god. Leave. Yeah. But having a thumbnail is not a good idea. Fuck you, man. All right. So let me just try to. How can I do this one? Like, really, how do I do this? Do I do the entire? Do I do the entire street? No, it's fine. It's fucking fine. And it's fucking fine. I don't know. No, let me just. Yeah, from here. So that I will know if I am lagging or something like that. So, okay, from the 41st minute, I will try to remember. But we get. Okay, let me just say I'm doing a halftime recap. But in the first in the kickoff of the chapter, we see that Blue Lock is the one who gets to kick off the game. So it was really not even Blue Lock, but Nigeria were the ones who start the play. So they had the chance to draw first blood. But we got to see how the team is basically shaped when it comes to Nigeria. Or we got to see a bit of their abilities, because when the game starts, it starts with Onazi. So Onazi passes the ball straight into the middle, and in the middle we get to see Kuso. So we get to know that Kuso is the brains of this Nigerian team. So Kuso makes a forward play to I don't know if it was, yeah, I think it was Bello. So Bello shows us his bit of dribbling. That was a short display from Bello, I don't wanna lie. And then from Bello, we get to see him dribble, 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 dribble. Not even dribble, dribble, but the only person that Bello dribbled against or passed was Bashir. So it was nice seeing Bello get past Bachira, and it showed me that we can expect more from Bachira and Bello. We can expect a lot more. But moving on to that, we see that Bello passes the ball into Onazi. And at first glance, Ari feels like, nah, this pass is just not good. This kind of a pass won't work in an environment like Bullock. We are elite. What the fuck do you think we've been doing this past 14 days? But we see that the pass wasn't off course or anything like that, but the pass reached the man who was intended for the pass, which is Onazi. So seeing Onazi intercept the ball like that, it was like, oh, okay, it's just an interception. But we find out that this is no ordinary interception. The boy can jump. Okay, let me just start the game afresh. So yeah, that's the way I talked about it. And then when when Kuso delivers the final pass to Onazi, something spectacular happens. Something spectacular happens. The best thing is that Aryu feels like the pass is not good enough. But it's okay because Onazi is here, which I don't know, like this turns the whole situation of of this game. We get to see that Onazi is maybe better than we expected him to be. Because I don't want to lie, when the shot of the Nigerian team came, I really thought that Onazi was cool like that. But Bello and his dribbling fine too, and Kuso analytical dribbler and good passing, playmaker to be exact. So we get to see that Onazi does something special because Onazi does a shot. At this point, I thought it was a genuine scissor kick, but this was a shot mid-air. So Onazi trapped the ball, and after trapping the ball, he switched to a shooting position or to a shooting form in the air. The last we've seen something like this was a free kick in the air from Rin Itoshi. Only Rin can pull up something like this from his eyes, to be exact. But Onazi does it, and he takes the shot very fast. But the captain analyzed something for us that Onazi's got some serious springs on his leg. And we see that Onazi is really quick to select his path or his shooting course, and he acts on it immediately. Because Onazi sees the gaps in between of the block defense, which is something impressive. I don't want to lie. The fact that they were able to find these gaps in the defense of block, it says a lot about what they've been able to achieve so far. Onazi takes a shot only for Nico to fill in the blanks. And I don't want to lie. At this point, you have to understand that nothing gets better than this. You know, Nico filling in the gaps. It just says that Nico is cleaning up after Aiku and Ari. I don't want to lie, which is the days Nico deserves, because we want to see Nico being way like 5 steps ahead of Aiku. It doesn't have to be always Aiku who's the best defender. I would like to see the boys battling it out for being the best defender in Blue Lock, just to be general. So W Nico with filling in the blocks, but the most essential thing happens. Maybe not even the essential thing happens, but Blue Lock gets their first chance of attack. So this is the first time we get to see Blue Lock go on the offensive, and the ball lands to Karasu. Let me not say it lands, because I feel like Karasu was here with calculation and purpose. So Karasu is the man to kick off the counter attack for Blue Lock, and he sends it to the man, which is Hiyori. You know, and seeing Hiyori with the ball, you always expect something hype, but Hiyori delivers a spectacular pass or cross pass. No, no chance for Nigeria. 9-0, 9-3. No ways. No ways that is happening. I don't know. No ways we get to see that happen. I don't know. But I'm just doing a quick recap of what happened in the first half. So finally we get to see that Hiyori delivers a pass, not to Isagi but to Ren Etoshi, like he promised us. Because at the end of the NEL, Hiyori was like, you know what, Isagi, I'm not going to just pass to you at the end of the day. I am going to pass to the best striker, or to whoever is best positioned as a striker. And then for the first time, we see Hiyori pass to Ren Itoshi. I know that we've seen that Hiyori can pass to Michael Kaiser and other strikers, but seeing Hiyori coordinate his attacks with Rin Itoshi, it says a lot. I don't know, lie, it says a lot. Rin Itoshi takes the attack from this point to the net. Imagine Kuso did a no ways. You are telling me that you have already seen Bullock spoilers? Nah, bro. Nah, bro. Nah, bro. Nah, bro. No ways. Let me try to check Bullock and find out if the chapter is out. But is the chapter out? Imagine Kuso did a goal. You know, I don't know, like Kuso had everything that would allow him to score the goal. Though I can't find the chapter at all. Kuso is doing a goal before on Nas. No ways, dog. No ways. Do I have to go to Twitter for this one? Do I have to go to Twitter for this one? Because Because this is what Onazi once said. I don't want to lie. Low key, Onazi was like, guys, let's go for goals. Aside from, you shouldn't count on me. Bro, so many people are saying Kuso get a goal. I don't want to lie. Kuso getting a goal will be wild. It will be insane. Ah, it will be insane because I know it will be, for a fact, the most hype goal to ever exist. Because Kuso is not going to pass the ball and just move and then score. No, he's going to create a goal from scratch. We are going to see how good Kuso is in playmaking, which this will make the game more interesting. I don't know. Because besides the awakening of Onazi, Kuso's awakening will be the most dangerous factor in block. But can he outsmart all of the 5 players in block? I'm not sure. I really not. I'm not sure at all. But my internet is still as. Let me try. Let me try to check. Blue Lock 319. 319. Yeah. Blue Lock 319. We just see a summary. We have a summary. That's it. But this summary is way too old. Another score a goal. Nah, no ways. No ways. I don't wanna lie. I'm not getting anything for sure. I'm not getting anything as of yet. But I'll try to go to YouTube and check if we have spoilers or something like that. Because YouTube is usually the first to deliver since Discord is. I don't know what the fuck happened to Discord. Who decided to. The chapter will come tomorrow. Oh, you had me panicking there, dog. I don't wanna lie. You had me panicking for a bit. I really don't want to lie. Do you think Bello will be able to unlock Jinga too? Because I feel like Bello really has the capabilities of unlocking Jinga and all those things. So we just have to wait and see if it happens generally. But what team Man United is playing, and Oratile is going to have a bit of a hard time. Yeah, the chapter is not out, definitely. The chapter is not out at all. But do you think that Nigeria can make a return in this game? Because it doesn't feel like Blue Lock is going to go for more goals. It feels like Blue Lock is going to try to keep this 2-0 lead. You think they will? Yeah. Now that's insane, because I really feel like these guys really have the tools to become the best. But Opapona, I think Opapona will be a random defender because Opapona is good. We cannot just hate on Opapona for no reason because has he been doing his job? Is Opapona doing his job? No, because he's the center back or the defender in Nigeria. So he's definitely on fraud watch. But when it comes to Bello, Kuso, and Onazi, those guys are monsters. I don't wanna lie. They will get a backstory of them of Onazi said backstory, and he will get a goal. Now, because we have to understand that the most evil man of anime history, who is Isagi Oichi, is there. I really find it hard seeing Isagi allowing Onazi to score a goal at all. I don't think Onazi will get satisfaction from this game. No ways. So I think Bello is more of a wild card, because no matter what the circumstances are, no matter what the circumferences are, no one has been able to stop Jinga. So if Bello unlocks Jinga along the way, I think that would be the most. But nah, dog. To understand that Blue Lock still have guys like Kiora, not even Kiorachin, but Yukimiya. So I think Blue Lock is just the pinnacle of football at this point. The chapter going fast in 4 minutes real goal, then half time. Yeah, the games are going really fast because you have to understand that the author is not capable of doing a 90-minute type of a game, because we really saw that when it comes to the U20 game versus Blog, it was really difficult for them to animate it. I don't want to lie. You know, the Blue Lock versus the Japan national team, it was a very good game. It was really good, I don't want to lie, but it was quite hard, because they tried to do a 90-minute type of a situation, which is really hard to do. I think Nigeria's game will be around 7 or 9 chapters. Yeah, because if it's 7 or 9 chapters, we will get to train more with the team, because Ed, so what up, G? What up, Ed? So it's been decades. It's been decades, Ed. So I'm finally back. Yeah, dog. I heard from your friend. Your G told me about your Google stuff. Is your channel okay? Because yeah, it's been decades, dog. Let's see if you still have it. Is the channel still okay? Yeah, the boy still has a channel. I don't wanna lie. The boy still has a channel and it's going wild. You're putting in the work. I can see you going after sleeps with the shorts and all that. But yeah, welcome back, dog. They are going fast to get on another game like France versus Japan. No, I don't think that that's the reason why the author is moving fast, because at the end of the day, Blue Lock is not normal football, So even though they could do a 90-minute game, it will be really hard to animate. Because people were really complaining about the panels in the Blue Lock versus Japan, the Japan U20 national team, because others were like, Isagi is moving in a funny way, and nah. And the France game will be like 15 chapters. No, I don't think the France game will be 15 chapters. I think the France game will be off screen mostly, because we have to understand we are watching Blue Lock right now because it's the first game. And when it's the first match of the U20 or of a World Cup, it's only one game. And England will be a lot of chapters. Yeah, France can be put off. We can off-screen France because we definitely know that France will come back for sure. France will crawl back, but I do get a feeling that we might have a France versus Spain finale. Something like that might be possible because we have to understand that even if Bullock reaches the semi-finals and play against Spain, that's not the end of the journey for the U20. They can always go for easy win for Japan. Not that easy. I don't know. That so is quite correct because I really feel like things are going their way for now. Things are going their way because it's only been Bullock showing their evolution. Right now is Bullock's evolution that we are seeing, but how will be how will the evolved Nigerian team do? We're not sure. Talking about the Nigeria game. No, it's not going to be an easy win. No game in football has ever been an easy win unless you win 10-0. Then yeah. Oh, I thought you were talking about England. No game in this will be easy. I really believe that because if it is the group stage of death, it has to get difficult. We have to understand how things will get nasty. Because truly speaking, we've been chasing Blue Lock a lot. Things have been going a bit too smooth for Blue Lock right now. They will draw in the England game. Yeah, but we have to understand that if all the teams in this group stage beat Nigeria, they all have 3 points. You know, so if they all have 3 points, it will come down to the games between Blue Lock and Japan. Not even Blue Lock and Japan, but Japan versus England, England versus France, and then just like that. So the biggest games will come from the deciding teams. Nigeria 0 points. I really don't expect the AFCON because at the end of the day, these guys are the champions of the AFCON, which is this sucks. I don't wanna lie, because AFCON is not that easy to win, dog. And knowing that this team of Onazi and the boys were the ones that won the Africa Cup of Nations, it's pure disrespect. And when we talk about the Africa Cup of Nations or the qualifiers, we are having a really hard time when it comes to South Africa and Nigeria. Morocco is cruising nicely. They are going to the World Cup next year. And us, we are suffering. In real life, Nigeria won many times. Yeah. When this comes to real life, Nigeria is going to the semifinals. No ways. You know, even teams like, bruh, like when it comes to African teams in football, it's insane. It's insane. I don't wanna lie. It's insane. Even the World Cup qualifiers right now, they are wild too, because no one is willing to give up their seat. You know, it's me and Nigeria in the bottom seat when it comes to real life. You know, Nigeria and South Africa battling it out just to make it from, yeah, we all from Africa, girl. And so you sucker, you have the best football team in Africa. I just find that out that you guys in Morocco are considered the best in football. And you know what, guys? If you guys were to come to South Africa, we would beat your ass again, like we did last time. I don't wanna lie. We would beat. I don't understand how Morocco is the best football team in Africa. It makes no sense. Right now, Nigeria are dying to get in the World Cup. Yeah, dog. Yeah, yeah. We are really there because in the bottom of the selection in the qualifiers, it's South Africa and Nigeria. It's me and Tyreek battling it out. You know, and South Africa making it through. I don't wanna lie. It's a waste. It's a waste of position. We are good in my country when it comes to football, but I really would like to see Nigeria go there and destroy people because I know Nigeria is him. We have Hakim. Shut up, dog. Hakimi is supposed to be arrested. What happened? Because we are tired of Hakimi, dog. I don't wanna lie. Hakimi dead ass. We are tired of Hakimi. Nah, the boy Hakim has been the best in Africa in the pitch and off the pitch. We have Lookman. You see, you guys have world class players, and I have none. I have zero. Fuck, bro. Like, no, I'm not saying in a very bad way, but Hakim has a lot of cases. Divorce first. Let's talk about the divorce from Hakim. Nah, dog. Hakim is not trash. Hakim is one of the best right backs in the world. The allegations were false. Yeah, but we are not happy, and so we have to understand that the allegations might be false, but we wanted to have a break from Hakimi and a break from Ziyech because why do those guys have to be that good? Who the fuck is Lukman? I think Lukman is the current best player in Africa, something like that. How I don't know because we have Mohamed Kudus, we have who is this? We have a lot of players to talk about, but yeah, we have a lot. Nah, bro, there is Salah. Nah, I really think that we are past Salah's prime. You know, he won the European League. Oh, you talking about Lookman? I didn't get a chance to see. much of Lukman play, but I really know that the best player in the world is in Nigeria right now. But the game between Nigeria and South Africa, it was bad. How was what was the score, Tariq? Was it 1-1 or was it 0-0? I'm not sure. But yeah, it was a draw, something like that. Or we got beaten by Nigeria. So bottom line is everyone else should go to the World Cup except for us. There's United versus Chelsea right now. Chelsea is just coming back from a Champions League game. It's 1-1. 1-0 Man United. No ways. Now Oratile is genuinely crashing out. I don't know. Oratile is crying his eyes out. Being a Ronaldo fan is not easy when it comes to Man United. Onana is better. So is Nigeria, who is Onana playing for? But no African team should go with Onana to the World Cup, guys. I don't wanna lie. You know. So I think if we put it like this, if no, it's fine, Tariq, no stress. If we look at it in this way that maybe we have Morocco, we have Cameroon, we have Nigeria, we have maybe Ghana, because Ghana has a lot of fighting potential. I don't want to lie. Ghana is United is winning 1-0. Oh, that's good. Senegal, yeah, Senegal too would be dope. I remember that we're getting 5 teams and Egypt. Ooh, between Ghana and Egypt, we have to choose one. But I would like to see Mohamed Kudus back in the World Cup again, because Kudus deserves it. I don't know lie. Kudus almost won it with Ghana the last time. So I really think that Morocco is winning the next AFCON. Nah, bro. The thing that Morocco should do is win the World Cup. And they are the host. Oh my god. That's the worst case scenario. I don't know, like, because the AFCON was really difficult for us in Cameroon, and then taking it to Morocco, it's just it's another level. Because when it comes to AFCON, you know, you will enjoy football until you watch AFCON. AFCON it's hands down one of the best tournaments I've ever got to watch. And the host with they are the host with Spain and Portugal for 2030 World Cup. What are you saying, dog? Nah, Oratila, bro. You not even Oratila. Adam, you are telling me that your country will be the peak of football in the next 5 years? Because co-hosting the World Cup, I would have to say congratulations. Knowing from South African, nothing beats that experience, dog. Nah, don't be laughing. Don't be laughing, dog. I'm quite jealous of you. I'm really, really jealous because it's the second time that the World Cup is coming back to Africa, and now you have it, dog. I missed the entire World Cup I missed the entire World Cup because I was still a kid. I didn't have money to buy tickets, and my family won't even. Let me not say won't. They weren't in a position to take me to the game. But the question is, are you willing to have me over there, Adam? You know, because 2030 is really far. I can save up, and when I come to visit you in Morocco and we get to enjoy the World Cup together, will you offer me accommodation? Because for the first time, we don't have to worry about going to Dog, I was the Waka Waka. It's Hamina Mina. That was us. That was our World Cup. Dog. It's Hamina Mina. That was our World Cup. I don't want to lie. That was our World Cup, and it was dope. Even though South Africa failed to reach the qualifying, the round of 16, it was still a good World Cup. In fact, every World Cup is a good World Cup. But when it's in your country, nah, dog. It's next level. It's next level. And co-hosting the World Cup, I really want to see how that will work with. I wasn't even born. No ways, dog. No ways. It can't be. How old am I? How? I'm really fucking old. You weren't even born in 2010. How is this even possible? Adam, bro, you have a really good life to enjoy. I don't wanna lie. You know, I really hope you push hard at it because if you are at the age that you are in right now, don't be sorry for this old ass man, dog. No, it's fine. But you need to push 10 times harder, dog. In the age that you're in, anything is possible. If you still want to go pro in football, just do that. Don't cry, please. I'm not gonna cry, dog. It's just envy your youthfulness. I just envy it, and I'm proud of you, dog. I wasn't trying to offend. I'm not offended at all, G. Relax. I'm just proud of you. Like seeing the way you push, seeing the drive, and how you act. Basically, I just hope you are this open when it comes to being like in real life. There's a lot you can do. There's a lot you can do, my boy. You can be the best streamer in the world if you want. You can be the best editor in the world if you want because why not? Just go out there and do your best. I don't know, like, do your best. Because I don't think you're the smallest in the chat. Nah, we have Ray J. It's been a while since I've seen Ray J, but I might argue that Ray is younger than you, and he's also a content creator. What's with you with this generation? What? What the fuck? Only F Sleeps is also. Oh my god. So you and your nakamas are doing this YouTube thing and you're still at school. You and your peers are still at school. And you're doing all of this YouTube thing. Because now it's starting to get to me. And I forgot who your pearl is. I really forgot who your best friend is. But you guys are really, really surprising, full of surprises. Shout out to you, gents. Shout out. Shout out. But yeah, let me let me bounce, dog. I wanna watch the Man United game too. I don't wanna lie. I wanna watch the United game. Tariq and Luffy fan are the same age as me. Yeah, you and your bros, you and your minions, you fucking goddamn geniuses. You guys need to keep on pushing. I don't wanna lie. I need to keep on pushing. But we will have another stream soon. I don't wanna lie. Because the Wi-Fi is good today. I don't wanna lie. Why? I don't know. But yeah. Thank you very much for showing up, you guys. I really appreciate you, boys. Do well, like put in 100%. When you do something, remember Tom. I met them because of you, bro. Nah, you're still geniuses. At the end of the day, you're still geniuses. But remember, dogs, everything and anything you do it with gusto. Do it with gusto. You know, do it with gusto so that do it like Tom. Just leave it crazy. Do it crazy, dogs. I'm really much motivated from this. I don't know, like I feel 13 right now. I feel 13, but peace out, my boy. Hope to see you in 2030. I hope. I wish.